So the footage I've decided to upload, I kind of hummed and hawed and went back and forward and was like, should I put it out there? Um, it sounds. I just held on to it, and the reason I hummed and hawed is because the footage features someone who is very special to me. Um, and will always be special to me. And I realise and I know she is so special to so many other people. And so I've decided to put it out, and I wanted to give it a proper introduction. I did put it out a handful of months ago, because the woman who this footage interviewed sadly passed away. Um, and what what a woman she was. But I felt like she deserved an introduction, and people deserve to know more about her. If you're watching this, you probably know me. I can't even look at the camera because this is hard. Um, if you know me, you probably know who it's about. But this footage, if you don't know, is about my granny. It was an interview that was taken by the Viva Burlesque, who thank you so much for putting this out there. And we ended up with this interview because they came to interview us at a show that I put on at the Barrowlands Ballroom, and I was so excited to have my gran there. I think I put the whole show on just to get her on the stage because she's always said, I've always wanted to be on the stage at the Barrowlands, and we got her there. We got her there. She was in her 80s, but we got her on the stage, and the minute people found out she was in the building, because we brought up her early, people were running out from everywhere to meet her, and Miss Behave, who interviews for performers, and it came to interview for the festival, is my gran's adopted Amsterdamian grandchild. My gran like adopted everybody, and that's her. She's like, I'm your Dutch grandchild, so she comes running out and she filmed this footage for her. The name of the gent who recorded escapes me, but thank you so much to you for not only doing this, but to Viva Burlesque for allowing me to have it. This footage, I want to put out there because my gran was a legend, and she was a bit of a burlesque legend. Not because she was a performer, I mean, she was a performer, like, she was hilarious, but just because she gave so much support and so much love to other people. Everyone would be like, I'd be like, listen, do you want to come and do my show? It's a midweek show. I can't offer you hundreds, but I can offer you this. I can offer you a place to stay, and I can offer you a hot dinner in your belly. Do you know what I mean? And I can show you around Glasgow. And people would be like, but can I meet your gran and her dogs? And I feel like, yeah, okay. So people would literally come, and that would be part of their fee, was to meet my granny. And she always just had a wonderful way with people. When she passed away, I was really overwhelmed. I didn't want to tell anybody. Because I've still not quite dealt with it, but I didn't want to tell anybody because it was so. She just meant so much, and I didn't want to see. I didn't want to see their faces when I told them, and because of COVID, I feel like it took away everybody being able to come and just have one final right, like, get together and actually, I'd say formally say goodbye, but I mean we're working on that. Don't worry. Um, but yeah, I didn't let it break. I knew how I felt, and I didn't want people to feel like that. And I know people will go, oh well, she was your granny, and sometimes I forget she was my granny Joan, but she was everybody's granny. she was everybody's granny. So yeah, she'd adopt everybody, and she always had a good word to say. She'd send people away with biscuits, and she'd send people away with like just things, like just that was just the way she was. She was a proper Glaswegian. She was born in December 1936. She had a really interesting life. Her trade was a tailoress, so she was always hovering over me, shouting at me for gluing things together. And when she was passing, I would go up and I'd sit next to her and I would sew, and that's how I coped. I would just sew. Um, and she just the things she used to make were incredible, like absolutely incredible. And that was just such a huge, it's why I'm so into costume making and making things that are a bit weird and a bit silly because of her. She lived in Castlemilk, she lived in Penlee. She was well known for making up these songs, and while she wasn't a formal performer, as I said, she was always performing. She was always singing, and her favourite musical was Calamity Jane, which she used to call me all the time. Loved Doris Day. She was just a wonderful human being. She adopted everybody. And if she ever heard anybody being racist or homophobic or just nasty, you would hear from her. She had a wrath like for 5 foot. Like, she'd fight the devil, win, get him to apologise, and then make him a cup of tea and just be like, you're alright. That's the kind of person she was. She hurt herself. She fell, I can't remember if she fell and broke her wrist. And it was during Pride as well. At this point in her dementia, it was like things weren't quite processing, so as she kind of got, we were worried, I mean, that she was, and as it kind of went on, she was going to start to be a bit snappy and a bit like not really understand like gay people and be like, oh, what's that? Because she was going back to, do you know what I mean, when she grew up in a time where that still wasn't viewed as okay. So she she went and she was in the, I'm not laughing because she was in the hospital, so she ended up in the hospital, and it was Pride this weekend, and my mum was like, I could see her looking around and trying to figure out in her head what was going on. And this couple started chatting to her, and she's like, blah blah blah, and mum's like, oh god, what's she gonna say? Please just don't be, do you know what I mean? Because that wasn't her. And I always separate the dementia from my granny. I'm like, the dementia's horrible and nasty sometimes. My granny was never like that. And she turns around and she's like, well, let me tell you about my grandson, my twins. And that's because my friend David, who's also a drag queen called Lily Minogue, that was her twins. And it just, she was like, well, you know what, Hen? And the woman introduced her to her wife, and she was like, do you know what, Hen? See these people that are nasty to you? As long as you're not hurting anybody and you treat each other well, you send them to your granny and I'll sort them out for you. She just, even through dementia, she still just with this positive outlook and this wonderful outlook in the world. She just, I could gush about her for ages, but she was just my hero. And she was a hero for so many other people. She took care of everybody, and she never grudged anybody anything. We came home one day and she used to do daft stuff, so there was like a Jaffa cake on the floor, and there was me, Angelique Dominique, Lulu Blue, and Lola Rogue, and I think who else was there? I don't know if Anna Kiss was there, but I think she was. And there was Jaffa cake on the floor, and we all stood around it like a seance, and we were all like, what's that? And I was like, it's Jaffa cake, just leave it there. And in the morning we went watch this. I went, Granny, where's the Jaffa cake? She went, oh, I picked it up netted because the dog didn't want it. She just left it for a snack. So yeah, she thought Tootsie Annie was like, she was like, oh, that wee lassie, and she made everybody feel good, and she just always wanted to look out for her, and I was like, we are grown-ups. So I could go on, but I'm running out of time to film, and so without further ado, I want to introduce you all to my hero, who will always be my hero, my best friend, Granny Stardust. I also totally forgot to mention that when she walked in the Barrowlands for this footage, she looked around and went, what are these chairs doing here? I need to go to the dancing. Where am I going to jig? So, again, without further ado, my absolute hero. She really was my best friend, and she always will be my best friend, Granny Stardust.
Guys, I'm here with the one and only. I'm here with Granny Stardust. Yay! This is the grandmother and the mother of the producer of the show, and as this is the most fabulous festival in the world, the mom and the granny is always supportive. So, Granny Stardust, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
What do you want
again? Yes.
If you have to say anything about burlesque and about Roxy Stardust, tell me something.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
What are you going to say about her? Oh, Roxy Stardust.
It's your granddaughter.
Yeah.
And I'm your Amsterdamian granddaughter.
That's right.
I know. I always bring her chocolates, and you are the heart of the festival because you inspire Roxy so much, and it's nice to have you here tonight.
I'm glad to come tonight. I was going. Where was I going? Supposed to be going tonight.
Oh, I don't know. You had a date?
A date with a friend up Pig Street.
Oh, you cancelled your date to be here. That's amazing. Can you give a wee kiss to the camera, like?
Come on.
So Granny Stardust, where were you supposed to be tonight?
Where are you supposed? I'm supposed to be at what do you call it?
On a date?
On a date, yes. But it worked out. It's all twisted and I've came here instead.
So you called him off and now you're here instead. So,
I didn't call.
oh!
I'll take the blame of it anyway.
So please give a little kiss to the viewers. Give a kiss. Mwah! This is Granny Stardust and Mommy Stardust, everybody, the heart of the Glasgow Burlesque Festival.
Did you enjoy that?
I love
Did you
that.
enjoy that?
Can you do the? Can you say Viva Burlesque?
Viva Burlesque. Viva Burlesque. That's what Viva Burlesque. That's what to say.
Yeah, with the
Viva.
With your glasses, like Viva Burlesque.
Viva Burlesque.
No, like that. With your glasses.
Oh, that,
One more time.
all right. Viva Burlesque.